we're able to navigate from from a particular course down into a particular module, particular lesson. So the last piece is almost identical to what we just did, right? Module, selecting a module gives me the lessons. Selecting the lesson then should give me the topic. So this is just going to be almost a verbatim repetition of what we just did. And again, to give you a chance to follow along, and repetition should make it perfect, right? All right, so let's repeat this. Let's create a component that will render the list of topics for the lessons, although that's not required for this assignment. But again, let's do it just for practice. All right, so what do? We first create a component, right? ng generate a component called the topic pills. We include that in our viewer. So in the course viewer, right, we're going to display here the topic pills, which is going to render right down beneath here. It would render a list of topics. So topics, right? And that list of topics, and we'll have an ID, and the title for the topic. And in the HTML, we can then iterate over that. So this is maybe h3 topics, and this is UL. Maybe we can style it already as a list group. And an li, also with a class of a list group item. And then use ng4 to iterate over the topic in topics of topics, which then displays the title of the topics, title, right? So that's what's rendering right here. We would like to convert this into a hyperlink, and the hyperlink should have the href, right, that points to something similar to the something similar to this, right, where it'll be this whole thing, but at the end it'll be something like topics and then the ID of the topics, right? So we can just configure the route. We know we're going to have to change that, right? So let's fix the route already. Where's the route? I'm just going to copy this again. I'm going to create a route that says that if it looks like this and we have the topic encoded in there, topic ID, I want to stay in the same place. So the URL is going to look something like that, right? It's going to grab that as an example. So the URL is going to match that, right? But these are going to be variables that we're going to parse from the URL, right? Same thing here. And same thing here, right? And finally, this will be the variable as we are iterating the ID. Okay. We don't have these variables. We'll need to parse them from the URL in the component. Right, for that, we'll need the service, the activated route service. So activated route, there it is, so that when we load, we can listen for the parameters in the route by subscribing to it, so that we can get notified about any changes in the parameters, so that we can parse out the course ID, right? So that we can parse out the module ID, so we can build that URL, right? We can parse out the lesson ID. And if we select the topic, we're going to be able to parse out the topic ID as well. And so we're going to parse all these out from the URL, from the params. The course ID, the module ID, the lesson ID, again from the path. And since we have the lesson, well, we might as well go fetch the topics for those lessons, right? And that will be something like, fetch, and it'll be something like, if we copy that, it'll be something like, this will be the lessons, and this will be, it'll be the lesson ID, this.lesson ID, and we want the topics. Right, this is going to come back with a response that we're going to parse, and then we're going to copy it into our list of topics. Oops. Topics. So this dot topics equal topics. There we go. What else? Let's see. I think that's it. Let's see. Let's go back. Let's see if we broke this. It looks like these topics don't have. There are no topics. I don't know if we can find one that has something. No. Let's see. Does this have no topics? This one has topics. No topics either. No topics. Anyway, believe me, it would work. All right. I hope we've done this just already a couple of times. I hope that you're seeing a pattern emerging, right, of how the architecture works, and as it's being integrated with a remote server, retrieving this data dynamically. Again, once you've done this a few times, right, hopefully you would see a pattern emerge, and this would build your confidence on being able to whip these up fairly easily.